And good morning. Have a little bit of an enigma this morning. Perhaps you'll catch it. I am that too, and more is the title. Yesterday I listened to Queen Valhara Renita El Harebe, which is how her name appears on the screen. You'll see it in the blurb. In 10 YouTube videos called Black's Law. She is brilliant. She is sovereign. She is a Moor. She is a Muslim and perhaps a Christian too. I could identify with her. I am that too, and more. You may not realize it yet, but so are you. We are all in the process of waking up to the realization that our slavery to our own ignorance is ending. We are all, each one of us, becoming sovereign and more. It's not about separate identities. It's about individually recognizing that we are more than we thought we were. And I include the link. Sorry, I didn't read that correctly. It was an interesting day yesterday, beginning with my Mystics in Training class, where we, as usual, had some wonderful discussions. And then I went on to a meeting of the executive branch, some of the executive branch of Russa. I'm still Secretary of State, though ready to throw in the towel because I really don't like the way it's going, and maybe I'll touch on that a little bit more as the video goes on. And then I got home and took a nap because I didn't get much sleep the night before or yesterday during the day at all, especially doing 2 videos yesterday. Anyway, when I got up from my nap, someone in the Republic, I believe, had posted on the Republic page a thing about the Moors, and I felt to click it on and watch it. And I thought, well, it's just going to be a short video. I looked and it was only a short video, but I didn't realize there were 10 of them. It was only part 1. But it so fascinated me what the Queen had to say that I even went through some of the confusion because the videos were not sequenced properly. And twice it appeared that I was listening to the same video that I had just listened to, even though it had a different number on it. It had the next number in succession, but it was the same thing I had just heard. But with a little bit of patience and searching, I think I pieced all 10 parts together and was able to hear the entire presentation, although I wish it was in one separate video all the way through. It would have been a superior thing to listen to, an easier thing to listen to than trying to do what I did. But I did it because it was fascinating, because it taught me some things that I hadn't thought of before, more of my thinking outside the box. And I'm wanting to encourage each of you to think beyond the boundaries that you think you're supposed to stay within, because the only one that want you to stay within those are the same forces, if you will, that want you to be imprisoned. The Creator wants you to expand. You can believe that or not, but I'm encouraging you to consider it, to ask whatever you consider your supreme being or your higher power, whatever you consider that to be, to ask, do you want me to stay within these boundaries, or would you like me to expand the way I see the world, to gain a bigger perspective than what I've had before? Allah, the Muslim name for God, she said, means all law. All law. The law of one. I'm convinced that's what she's talking about, even though she may not have used that particular phrase. We have to learn, in my opinion, we have to learn to see the meaning that's hidden. We have to learn to see the bigger picture of what's in front of us, but we don't see it because we have blinders on. That's what's happening in Russa. It's why I want to pull out, because it's fundamentalist Christians that think they're being good Christians, and I have great compassion for them because I used to be in that camp. I used to think like that too, at least to some degree. That was where I was, so I have great compassion. But they have blinders on. They think that the narrow way means that they have to have narrow minds. No. Then Broadway is filled with people with narrow minds. Always has been. It's always been people that can only see their culture, their religion, their political party, their point of view. And they think that the people that see from another point of view are wrong because they have this separation consciousness and the mentality of conflict, the mentality of war. The Creator, who really doesn't have a name, by the way, identified himself to Moses according to our biblical history, which is true of the three major world religions, and those that study Buddhism and Hinduism and look at world religions will recognize this too. I am that. I am. She talked about being Moor. It's interesting. Moor is M-O-O-R. The Moors were people from Africa, northern Africa, southern Europe, especially the Iberian Peninsula. I did a quick scan of a Google search. Some say that there were Moors that were Asian in origin that were in the Americas, and they were Moorish people. There's still some things that I don't know, but it's awakened a fascination. And the video was about law, Black's law. Interesting that it was a black lady that was giving the presentation. The queen is incarnated in a black colored body. But she wouldn't like the word black or colored in referring to her because I am is beyond the limited designations and perceptions that are merely appearance. She recognized that she is more than even just more. Plays on words. But so are you. So am I. We are all more than what we think we are. Each one of us is. And until we catch up, we're still going to have problems like Russa is having problems pulling people together. There's an awful lot of people in Russa that want to leave Russa because they're recognizing something is wrong. Another fairly high-profile person in Russa was arrested this week and released, but arrested by the IRS or on charges brought by the IRS. And many of us, all of us in fact, those that have been in Russa, those that are still in Russa, we want a republic. But the people that are running and in control of Russa right now don't recognize, still can't see the difference between a theocracy and a republic. And they can't see that what they're really doing is they're creating a theocracy. They're wanting to call it a republic. It's not. It's not. When it's based on a sacred text a specific sacred text of a sacred religion, or of a religion, not a sacred religion, of a religion, then it becomes a theocracy. That's what they did in Iran. They created the Islamic Republic of Iran. But it's not a republic. It's a theocracy because it's based on Sharia law. Now, there's a lot that I don't understand, but I understand this. Freedom doesn't have names. The name is part of the prison. It's part of the enslavement. We have to think beyond the names, including our own name. We have to get out of that construct that imprisons us. We are Moor. We have to, the narrow way has been narrow because so few people were willing to be broad-minded enough and take the blinders off and see the bigger picture. And that's why only a few could find it, because the ego kept us bound because we thought we were separate. It's not the ego that did that. It's the idea that it was separate from everything else. It was its own thing, all alone, but all alone is all one. All one. Alone, all one. We are all one. We are all Moor. That's the message that was coming through to me. And maybe I have a crazy way of explaining it, of putting it together, but that's how Spirit leads me to understand the law, to understand what is, to understand how things work in the world that we live in. And she said spelling is spelling because when you write it down and you spell it, it casts a spell. It's magic. Spelling. Another thing that I guess I had heard that once before. I don't think that was new, but it was refreshed in my consciousness. The all law, referring to Allah or Allah, that was new to me. That I don't think I had ever heard that one before. The point I'm making is I am willing, and I'm encouraging you to be willing, to stretch yourself. If you're a Christian, study a little bit about Islam. It won't hurt. Study a little bit about Native American spirituality. It won't hurt. Or Hinduism or Buddhism. Get out of your box. You will enrich yourself, not impoverish yourself, and you won't embarrass your divine creator. Because your divine creator wants you and me. He wants us, she wants us to be all that we can be. That was the message that Jesus brought. The things that I do, you can do also. I'm not something special on a pedestal. I'm not. I'm just like you. You are just like me. We are one. Father, that they may be one in us, that the world may know. What? Know. Wake up. That the world may know. Not believe, but know. Know who we are. Who are we? When they tried to stone Jesus for saying, before Abraham was, I am. Because he was making himself as God. And he said, but didn't your own psalmist write? Isn't it in your own scriptures written that you are gods? We are gods. We are children of God. Every single one of us. I am that. I am. And so are you. We are gods. And it's not blasphemy. It's liberation. It's sovereignty. It's freedom. It's truth. It's love. It's power. It's the way home to recognize who we are. Russa will fail if it continues to march forward with blinders on. But it can't. It will fall apart. We want a republic. We want the principles of republic, of limited government and freedom for the people. Maximum freedom for the people and minimal power for the government. That's a republic, folks. And a republic only works when it works for everybody. If you exclude anybody, you minimize the results. You do not maximize the potential, you minimize the potential because you're still thinking inside the box. We have to get out of the box of our thinking. I encourage you to listen to Queen Valara. And I think that's close to how she would say her name, although I'm not positive. Listen to her. Listen to others that are presenting a different point of view. That's how you will become enriched and empowered, by the way. That's how you will become free and actually claim and live in your sovereignty. I leave you with these thoughts, and I encourage you to explore. Namaste. Thank you for listening.